Now, away from the razzmatazz of the industry to a more business conversation, Nigeria co-founder of the video-on-demand platform IrokoTV reviews the VOD and technology-driven ecosystem of the Nigerian movie industry. Now, he speaks on the future of the Nigerian cinemas to our correspondent, Mayowa Adegoke, on the sideline of the just concluded Global Business Forum Africa. Take a listen.
From someone in entertainment, I did see on your Instagram you shared that $100 billion for tech in the next 5 years, you said?
Next 10 years.
10 years, I beg your pardon. And with your background in entertainment, I'm wondering what your advice would be, or a word for Nigerian entertainment people in the entertainment industry, on how they can leverage on things like this, on tech, and all these opportunities that you're already aware of and have access to. Do you see any of these things doing anything for Nollywood?
Yeah, no, so I think, again, if you go back 10 years, Nollywood was much, much more smaller than it is today, right? You think of, Africa Magic, it was only like, was it 2008, 9 that it really started? So again, if you think people even being in Nollywood was like frowned upon by most parents. Now being in Nollywood is like a big thing, right? It's like, you get the celebrity, you get the fame, you get the money, like it's a real career opportunity. But not only that for the talent in front of the camera, it's everybody else behind the camera. So when 1,000 movies are being produced, they're being produced by people who don't necessarily have the right education, but have the right ambition, the right enthusiasm to go out there and build crazy and amazing stuff, right? So if you look at the success of Nollywood, and that success is across like every African country consumes Nollywood. After here, I'm going to Houston because you know what? IrokoTV's biggest market is actually Houston. We make more money in Houston than we do in Nigeria, right? So I think it just shows you that there's a global nature of that. If you look at what our musicians are doing, fantastically well. You look at what our skit makers are doing on Instagram, on Snapchat, on TikTok. So in terms of entertainment for young people, I think the next decade is going to be like almost where, just pick your number and make that money, right? So I think there's definitely massive opportunities for the talent that we have to be unlocked and to contribute to that. I think one thing I know about Nigerians is that in spite of whatever happens, like we want to get paid, right? We want to do well. We have the energy. We have energy for days, right? So I think any new things which come up, Nigerians are typically very fast at adopting them. So TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it may be, like we're really fast to adopt that. Even the churches are adopting like YouTube live video, live streaming. So there's some real innovation and real like energy around what we're doing at the moment. I just really say in spite of what's happening on the regulatory side and on the government side and the policy side, imagine if we were really supported and encouraged, imagine how much further we can be.
And if you look at, for instance, Netflix and how it's given cinema a run for its money, and I know that, you know a bit of both sides. You're in tech, you know about the traditional cinema, live. In what ways do you encourage Nigerian entertainment industry to embrace more tech? Do you see what's happening with Netflix happening in Nigeria anytime soon?
So I think Netflix is just one of many participants in the industry.
That's just an example, of course.
No, of course. But I think, I mentioned Africa Magic first because they built more than Nollywood, let's be frank. Without the presence of Africa Magic, I think a lot of content would not have been made. So again, I think it's really easy to stand on the shoulders of giants and call yourself tall, like when you don't fully recognize the work which is being done. So even if you go beyond like the English-speaking Nollywood, that's one version, right? But between what my wife is doing at Rock and Africa Magic is doing, in Hausa, what are they doing in Yoruba? What are they doing in Twi? What are they doing in Igbo? That's a huge amount of content investment that no one is making. Netflix makes 50 hours of content per year, and people get excited about that. That's not Nollywood, that's not the industry, that's nothing. That's not even cinema. The real people making Nollywood are the channels, and I think if you look to the US, box office is small, channels are big. HBO, Showtime, etc. Like, they're still massive channels, right? You go to UK, ITV, BBC, the most popular content is there. So yes, you need to be disruptive. Yes, you need to embrace change. But at the same time, you can't just forget that, the vast majority of people in the world watch Nollywood via TV channel, which is essentially like 2 or 3 companies, right? And their innovation is happening on a different level, on a different scale than anything we're seeing at the moment. So I think it's really important that we continue doing what we're doing already, which is they're embracing amazing talent. They're embracing new talent. New people are coming up all the time. I was in Zambia earlier this year, and what was crazy was that Zambians were like, we have our musicians, but we have like 5. And the same musicians for the last 10 years is like 5. in Nigeria, it's like there's like 5 new emerging musicians like every single year.